For many people, getting a tattoo can be a cathartic experience, which helps persons to release the emotions and feelings that they've been struggling with. A tattoo can serve as a visual representation of people's thoughts or their feelings, allowing them to express themselves in a meaningful and unique way. Welcome to Steeped in Tradition. I'm Kimberly Skeet. In this episode, we'll speak about the art of tattoos, from its origins and its popularity amongst young people. Body art, body bling, self-graffiti, walking billboard, and I dare say tramp stamps are all fashionable ink titles for tattoos. In the past, those who found them aesthetically pleasing were sailors, bikers, athletes, musicians, and the typical stereotypes. But nowadays, it's the norm and it's pretty much mainstream in society. People have the ink in order to process traumatic events like losing a family member or a close friend, or to cover up an ugly or unsightly old scar. Whatever the reason, tattoos represent real-life stories of real people. In September of 1991, two German tourists were skiing near the Utzal Alps, the border located between Austria and Italy, where they discovered the human remains nestled in a glacier. The scientists meticulously analyzed the mummy and concluded that it lasted approximately 5,300 years. Utzi, as the mummy was called, measured 160 centimeters. That's about 5 foot 2 inches tall, just an inch and a half taller than I am. And he died between the ages of 30 to 45. He suffered from a variety of degenerative ailments, but ultimately, he met his death from a wound on the shoulder by an arrow. Spectacularly, he carried 61 ink inscriptions on his body. There were tattoos up and down his spine and legs, and a cluster was found on his chest. Many were convinced that the tattoos deliberately pinpointed areas for acupuncture treatment. Utzi is the oldest tattooed mummy recorded during the Bronze Age. The Tahitian word tata is symbolically related to the modern term tattoo. Traditionally, it meant to strike or to hit the skin using tools made of albatross bone, turtle shells, or boar's teeth. In Western and Eastern Pacific countries, tattooing was based on the use of a broad-toothed comb of varying widths called the yui, dipped in dark pigments and struck into the skin with small mallets known as ta. The teeth of the comb pierced the skin and deposited the pigment. After the healing, grooves and contours were left on their bodies and faces. New Zealand, one of the largest countries in the Polynesian chain, used tattoos as a means of ID or passport to identify their people. The matara was done on the faces of men. This was a sign of nobility, depicting the man's head as the most sacred part of the body. The mokokoi is an ethnic design for women living in New Zealand. It is strategically placed on their lips and chin. The three lines represent the three stages of a woman's life: her maiden, mother, and crone age, an age where she's often depicted as a grandmother, a wise woman, or a midwife. This is also depicted by the three elements of nature: earth, air, and water. The moko's image has made a huge resurgence in New Zealand. Some of the country's most prominent leaders, like Foreign Affairs Minister Nania Mahuta Ruriwatiti and Debbie Ngare Wapakar, are playing their part by serving their country and preserving the traditions of their ancestors. 1 in 5 adults is tattooed, and women are the majority. In Barbados, 2 young artists, Ryan Rollins of Solid Lines Tattoos and Ridge of Life with Ink, has taken a keen interest in the art from a very young age. Persistent doodling on textbooks and stringing bobby pins have surely made a positive impact on their lives.
I think I always had a thing for art, you know, and always could draw like a lot of still life and stuff like that. So I was always into the realism, actually trying to take a picture from here and put it on paper or no skin. And then eventually, like, I had gotten into a different form of art through the form of airbrushing. And I think that was, I would say, the opening time for me to venture further into different mediums of art. But I thought I did love that until I found tattooing. So when I found it, I knew it was for me, so I just kept up with it. Tattooing, out of all the mediums of art, is one that is recognized mostly on the island, you know? You can make a living from it. And then the other part of it is, some people come for tattoos, you know, to feel good. Some people come to express a memory for someone or something like that. And when you see people happy after you've done what they want and you give them what they expected, that's a good feeling. So I think above everything, regardless of whatever the feeling, that happy feeling, yeah, that's the adrenaline right there.
I love all art forms, but I started to realize that I only see certain art forms, I should say, being promoted at certain times of the year. I see the paint on canvas around Whole Town Festival time. I see the craft and stuff around that time. Then I got the other stuff you will see at Bridgetown Market. Everything kind of seemed to have a season, and I kind of wanted to dive into an art form that didn't seem as if it had a season, you know, like something that was relevant from January the 1st to December 31st. And that was the reason I got into tattoo art. It's not really because I favored it more than another art form. I just chose the thing that I saw more had a wider scope. I never thought of another path, honestly. Anybody that knows me from as a child artist, I wasn't doing anything else.
Apart from having some skills, both men spoke openly about their challenges and the kind of training they relied on.
My only form of training was YouTube. I am self-taught. Yeah, that's the only form of training and experience. Everyday experience. There's nothing like hands-on work to strengthen the skill or a hobby, you know? If you keep doing it all the time, you gotta get better. And once you love it, it's just a matter of time before you get better and better every day, and you're aware of it too, so you keep doing it once you love it.
I was into it before it being a professional thing. Me and the guys would take common pens. Obviously, I had a gazillion ways to get common pens. Again, my mother's a designer. She got needles, thread. She had the thread. So I had a lot of access to thread, and you would take 3 or 4 needles, depending on the thickness you want, string them together, get some Indian ink, because in that time there was only like maybe black, red. If you're lucky, you might find blue, but it was mainly black and red. So we got some black, get it in a cover and dip in the ink, and we started in that time. And it's only when I decided I want to go further that I went to a professional tattoo artist in the area. Back in that time, it was only like 4. Only 4. There was literally an artist in the north, one in the central region, one in the south. They know who they are. They know exactly who they are. And you kind of had to find one and hope that they teach you and you could come under their wing, you know? But obviously, I remember going to one guy and he kind of had his spot reserved to teach his cousin. Yeah, I want to teach my cousin, you know what I mean? I want to apprentice my cousin. Like, okay, cool. How old is your cousin? He's like, oh, he's like 5. I'm like, YouTube was a thing, was now starting up. You might probably find like 20 videos the most. on how to tattoo, you know, and that was that. I would meet other artists as I was stumbling and going my way. I thought I knew what I was doing at certain, like, but you really don't know what you're doing, you know. So I started out, I would say, the bad way, the non-traditional way. However, I have learned so much with every single mistake I've made.
There are various styles to choose from. Some artists prefer realism, a style that emerged during the 20th century and is known for its mapping of shadows and highlights, while others opt for black and gray or traditional. These artists are inspired by some well-known stalwarts like Don Ed Hardy and Bert Grimm.
I prefer black and gray. That's more of a realistic aspect. If you want to add color, you want to add black and gray. I mostly like black and gray. But everybody keep coming to me for color, but I don't know why. But again, you know, you want to give people what they want. So, you know, sometimes you go against what you like to do to satisfy your client. Not that I can't do it, I could do it. You okay?
Hi, yes, please.
You can have a seat here.
Thank you.
During Ryan's interview, his client Shakidra walked in. She was having her second tattoo.
Client base is pretty wide. Different aspects of life, you know. Everybody got feelings, everybody got memories, everybody got some thing to show in different ways. And as we said, tattoos is one of those ways. So I tap into all cultures. The young, the old, the in-between, you know, the heartbroken, and the loved ones, you know, they want to express their love, they come and get the matching tattoos. You know, you get the ones that they appreciate themselves, so they get something to suit themselves, you know? So you get all ranges. Tattoos is a universal experience. Here in the Caribbean, I feel like I have come and contributed that part where people could come and get an actual picture of a loved one, like from photo to skin, and they can walk with that every day. So I find a lot of people transitioning towards the portraits, and some, you know, they're seeing it, they're loving it, so they want to get a little small one too. So you got the newbies and you got the old veterans that come in to get the really serious stuff.
There's much skepticism, however, for first-timers when deciding to have a tattoo, and we can understand why. The feeling of pain and permanent ink on their skin is a bit unnerving. Due to its ubiquitous nature, one tattoo is not enough. Some describe this as an addiction.
Even it could be as small as a dot, and if I do my job properly, as in I make you as comfortable as possible, you get the best service you could come and get, you can be leaving thinking about me, leaving saying, I really want to go back and get another tattoo. I find women are looking for tattoos that can express their beauty more so than, let me say, you know, just getting a tattoo. They know this side, they take all the pictures on this side, so you find a lot of women actually even getting brave enough to get sleeves. You know, they're stepping out of their comfort zone, they're coming to show that they're, especially ones that are entrepreneurs, the boss ladies, you know, they come in for those big ones, those big tattoos to show, because it's actually a sign you're not going back, you know, because, you know, there's a big stigma about people hiring people with tattoos. So when you see an entrepreneur come and get a really nice sleeve, they kind of send a message to themselves and everybody that they ain't going backwards and moving forward, and this is a sign to show we're moving forward, you know. So, and what they're getting depends on how they're feeling in the moment, you know. It could be what they went through in life, or as I tell you, just something to beautify what's already beautiful, right? Honestly, when they leave, I feel like I do a whole session for them, a whole big tattoo on them.
So my design started with a tattoo that I had previously, which was my sign as well as my birth flower. And I wanted it a bit bigger. So I told Ryan, you know, I don't want to exactly cover it. I still want it there as a first tattoo. So I gave Ryan the freeway to do what he wants to do and what he thinks will look good in his space. And we went from there. So this is a trusting process.
Mostly is because it's either something that's spiritual or something that's very meaningful to me. This one, of course, reminds me that I am enough all the time. And this little love heart, which is essentially like the infinity sign, is my love out and receiving love back in. It's 2 love hearts back to back. So that's a bit mushy. But this one on my finger is actually a lotus flower. And the lotus flower in philosophy is about overcoming adversity, which I have overcome a lot in my life. So that's there to remind me of what I've overcome and what I can essentially always achieve. You know, what I've overcame, I can do anything else. And I have a few other ones, but essentially it's something that's meaningful to me, something that's a reminder of either an event or, of course, my culture. One of them is the Celtic sign for eternity, which, you know, again, just reminds me about life and how amazing life really is.
It's a mood for me. Depends on the mood. I could wake up late tomorrow morning and suddenly need a tattoo and I want to do this and want to do that. Next day, I'm in tattoo mood, if you understand me. But I just like the tattoos. I like art. I just like it. I just like how it look on your skin. And when I do get a tattoo, I get it for a reason and for meaning. This is one of my favorite tattoos right here. This was done by Solid Line, which is Ryan. And it's a big elephant with a small elephant at the back. It's positive energy. For me, I got my name on the front. It's like me protecting my daughter. That's it for me. And the energy. I just like elephants, basically. This one on the other side, I had Ryan give me the class in hands. I had my initials for my grandmother that passed, my cousin that was killed in New York, and I had my boyfriend was killed here in Barbados like 4 years ago, and Ryan gave me the praying hands to complete it. So everything really got meaning for me. Well, yes, tattoo is painful, but it's you could tolerate it. If your tolerance level is not good, but then you need to get numbing creams. If not, no.
Women have pinpointed particular areas to place their tattoos. These include the wrist, ankle, collarbone, or thighs. And if she chooses an irregular spot, her choice is respected and supported by the artist in a very professional manner.
Eventually it got easier, like, you know, before, when I first used to start, I used to always wonder, like, how I have to be, like, you know, you go to, because you have to be professional any day, yeah? And I used to always think, but as you said, when you keep doing something over and over, you know, well, like, how to approach, obviously, a woman that's getting a tattoo on a very particular spot. Just be a gentleman.
Basically, I was maybe like in my teens or late 30s or something like that, and I just decided that, you know, having tattoos is just a phase of life that you're going through. Maybe like a fashion or something like that. Yeah. Majority of my tattoos are kind of spiritual things that I decide, you know what, just have them on, and not to really show off or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. As time goes by, you will see something else that, you know, you like, so you'll find some part of your body to put it. The only ones that don't necessarily have a spiritual meaning is like maybe this one, because I'm a big basketball fan and Kobe is my #1 player too, so that's why I get this one. I got two wings behind my neck. It's a serious addiction though, I can tell you. Once you do one, you do two, and you keep on going and keep on going. That is what it is no stopping point.
As much as women enjoy the daily drudge of applying makeup and having multiple touch-ups throughout the day, removing it before bedtime is quite the task, believe me. Having microblading and permanent eyeliner helps to remove all those hassles women have with hair loss, medical conditions, or vision issues. With the cosmetic tattoo, artists can mimic the natural eyebrow hairs through a series of fine strokes, leaving a defined and natural look. In addition, the tattoo eyeliner and lip tattoos are other advancements for women in the tattoo industry today. Social media platforms have revolutionized the tattoo industry. There are numerous designs online to choose from, but the artist and the client always decide on fresh and exclusive designs.
It's all about creating a vibe. You know, if I have a sheet, you can come and pick something that somebody had. You could come and show me somebody had already, that's all right, but we can sit and we can create our own vibe here, and, you know, give you a unique tattoo. That when you go there, you can't see nobody else with the same. So having a portfolio to show you is okay for you to see what I can do, but when we come to sit down and talk, we can discuss it from a whole different point of view. First, you gotta find out what they're okay with doing. Like, if you're okay with putting it, what's your limitations to where you want, if you want it visible or not visible. And yes, sometimes somebody will say, I want this here, but then it will be like, you know, I don't know if I like that idea. You open to any other ideas and we will go through, and then, you know, sometimes we come to a decision with a better spot for sure. It's a mixture of both energies. That's why when, you know, you get up in the morning, you gotta make sure your energy good. Because when somebody asks you for your advice, your mind gotta be clear, your heart gotta be pure in that moment to get them the honest truth. So it's a collaboration of both energies, I would say. That's how it works.
If we get 20 people that come to me for an idea, they want a trident with some flowers, you know, I would go on, what kind of flowers? Some people are going to ask for the hibiscus, some are going to ask for the Pride of Barbados, some are going to ask for a tulip, some are going to ask for a flower from their country to blend with the trident itself to kind of represent both countries where they're from. I show them some images of flowers, they pick the flower, but I already have a trident there, you know? So and then it's all about how do I get those flowers to interact with each other when it makes sense, you know? So it might not get the biggest designs from me, but you will get designs that the subjects, that the elements always interact.
The whole experience of getting a tattoo depends on several factors. Location, technique, overall health is also important.
I could talk about tattoos all day without even talking about the technique, because you could got the most technique in the world, and if your placement off, it doesn't catch on, and you're trying to figure out why it didn't catch on, you know? I learned to do this, I learned to do that, yeah, but you learn placement though. You know, you don't see different body parts in different shapes. It's circle, rectangle, square, you know, like when I start to look, so when somebody comes to me with ideas, like the first question I gotta ask is where you wanna put it? Because then when you tell me where you wanna put it, I just draw that shit, boom. Now we talk about where you wanna get done, you know what I mean? And then we place it within the frame. Instead of thinking about everything we want, then think about the placement. We think about the placement first, then we place the ingredients. So kind of treat everything like a brown paper bag. You need room to garner a certain energy to be able to do that. You know, sizes is really define personality, you know. They got some people that might be more reserved, and they got some people more loud. Exactly, and then they got some people that might be more loud. So then they use the size to then see which personality are you. And I had a couple of times where I suggested something that made it trendy, but then I had other times that some clients just purely came with an idea, and the idea that they came with ended up being the trend. Maybe, and sometimes it's not only design that makes it trendy, it might be the placement as well that makes it trendy. There's a lot of different little factors that come together to make the whole design what it is, you know?
Having a suitable machine and ink means less pain, and the tattoo will last much longer.
I would say it has definitely gotten a serious upgrade from what it was before. Machines and even the needles, even the ink, everything has upgraded to make the experience not as, although they were painful, but painful for it. Make it a breeze for some people.
Do you know how many issues this solved? How many house calls I was on when one of the cables had a shortage, and then I had to like try to find tape to find the shortage and cut it, and now this could be set up in less than 5 minutes.
Tattoo touch-ups are most appreciated when the tattoo is healed or matured within any region between 4 weeks to 6 months.
You know, a touch-up is really appreciated, but I know everybody don't have the time. I don't even have all the time to accommodate somebody to come back right away. So normally what I do is work on projects. So more so, people then do come back for the next session. In that period, I would touch up the last part I would have done before. So it's a continuation, but a recap. And then we move on, then a recap, and then we move on. So it's when it done, if it's done the correct way, you can't recognize, oh, something was there. I don't have clients. I feel like I have friends, you know? That when I out on the butt, then we could just, ain't like, how you doing, how your tattoo is, and going, like, what going on? How everything going, how is, you know, that situation going and what's not. And I feel like sometimes people need that little moment, you know? Because, you know, you come and sit down, it's just me and you in here for like a good 2 to 3 hours sometimes. And why not talk? Why not connect? Make it more meaningful.
So I actually feel more bad about the touch-up than the client, you know. I find sometimes they seem to think that we're happy-go-lucky because we already have your money and we don't care, but we actually feel kind of bad. The clients are my therapy as well. Somebody wants a tattoo tomorrow to help them with their problem. Their cat died yesterday. They really want to get this paw done, what it did, you know? And it turned into me almost deciding to put that person before myself. I was like, nah, boy, that cat mean a lot to shake off, going tomorrow and do what you tattoo. And it happens again and again until you realize, oh, you feel it living again. And it's almost like, how long was I in therapy though, you know?
Being inspired by someone else's work is completely normal, but reproducing it or claiming it as your own is unethical. This happens a lot in the tattoo industry. In Mike Tyson's tattoo copyright lawsuit, the tattoo artist S. Victor Whitmill sued Warner Brothers for copyright infringement. In the movie, The Hangover Part 2, a character gets intoxicated and passes out and wakes up with a replica of Tyson's tattoo on his face. Whitmill argued that Tyson gave him the right to that tattoo and provided the court with a copy of his registration. The tattoo represents Tyson's warrior status, similar to the members of the Maori tribe in New Zealand. Now, the community members were annoyed and questioned Whitmill's right to claim the Maori design in the first place. Whitmill's arrogance caused a stir in the New Zealand community. However, the Fair Use Act states anyone can lawfully copy someone else's work for educational purposes, reviews, comments, or criticisms. The case was eventually settled out of court. The aftercare is also very important for tattoos. The tattoo artist usually informs his or her client about the benefits of skincare and its healing process.
I've been loving QR codes recently. Basically, what this aftercare form is really just a form that keeps updating with information from dermatologists from around the world, doing different studies, adding information constantly. And the reason why I started using this more so than a printed aftercare form for set amount of instructions, my aftercare form that I created 5 years ago is not going to be still relevant today.
You see bath the pools, a direct sunlight, you know, because it's like a cut, but a decorative cut. Decorative grays on your skin. So you gotta keep it clean, most of all. Sometimes I even tend to forget right there. A little discomfort, a little itching, because you know healing. You know, as a cut heals, the skin draws and it itches and stuff. But in that period, I think that's the hardest period, seeing it peel.
Tattoos are ink positive. Having them can heal the mind as well as adorn the body, both aesthetically and socially. So whether you want to show the world that you're creative, a survivor, or you have a bit of a wild side, tattoos are a good way to express yourself.